aware of heat maps that show you where limit orders are and things like that. Prior to price dropping from where it is now, you can see here that when price was inching up towards the 100k, there was a really large sell wall at the 100k level, and it was really quite strong. So we consolidated under there for a little while, and then we eventually broke away. I believe that we are breaking away in order for the market makers to build up the steam to be able to break through it next. So I'm not too worried about this retracement. I think any move to the downside, once it finds support, is going to be good areas to buy, especially for everyone who felt like they missed out on this whole move up here. So now is the time to pay attention. You know, if you are one of those people that didn't get a trade through here or don't have Bitcoin spot or whatever, and you've been waiting for an area to buy, your chance is coming now. And so you really need to pay attention. That sell wall is now basically gone. I mean, there's a few of the orders there, but nowhere near what they used to be. So I do think if we have a nice, decent retracement, then we find support, we will eventually break through 100k. And the only reason we didn't break through it already is because the sell wall was just too large. And this is like, you know, the bears putting their cards on the table. When you understand how to read heat maps like this, by the way, this is Trading Light that I'm using. Trading Light also has a Black Friday sale, so you can go to their website to check that out. But if you want to use this, you do need the gold membership. I'll just tell you that much. So when we see these orders like this, the bears are putting their cards on the table. They're showing you where they're looking to short at the highest amount of contracts possible. So the bulls, of course, can see this, right? And so if they know they don't have enough momentum to smash right through that level and basically wreck the bears, anyone who's trying to short, they're not going to go for that level yet. So I think that's why we're coming down a bit. We want to induce some more shorts, trap a few more traders. In trapping traders, that's how the market makers build their contracts. And then eventually, once enough people are trapped, we will start to make our way up and we will eventually break right through that 100k. So this is all great. You know, I don't see this pullback as a problem whatsoever. And really, we're just looking for levels where we think that pullback might end. And so that's when we tend to use the current open position liquidity to give us an idea of where the liquidity is in its highest amount, because that's going to give us an idea of where it can pull back to. And so we do have quite a few levels. Now, it can get dramatic if they really want it to, but I don't really worry too much about super low levels down here, like in the 70s. I don't worry about that until we've broken through our first immediate area that I've already mentioned to you. And again, for me, as long as we're above the 50 EMA, creating a higher low above it, I'm okay with this pullback as low as it wants to go. Now, if we're looking for levels on smaller time frames, where I personally believe we are right now, I think all of this through here is the 1 hour time frame level 1 drop. So that happened through, well, at the end of the weekend, which was the false move week beginning. We saw Asia take most of that back, which I'm going to be honest, this week Asia did trick me a little bit because that retracement was really quite high. And so there was a part of me that thought this is the final damage and we're actually going to break up from here, but we weren't in that bullish of an environment. It turned out that it created a lower high and we came down. So, you know, that happens. Sometimes the market can get you. It's not always 100% obvious. Actually, it's rarely 100% obvious, if I'm going to be honest with you. Anyway, I feel that this hole through here is our level 1 drop and through here is level 2. And we might be in the process of level 3 right now, actually, because this, what is happening right here, this is a bit of a H pattern. I was hoping we would come up a little bit higher, like maybe into this 50% high low of the day kind of region. We didn't get that. That just means we're more bearish than expected. But also, when I ever give levels, just know that it's not that I think price is going to go there. It's where I would be willing to transact if price went there. So what I mean by that is if price today had a retrace up to 50% high and low of the day, I would be more interested in opening a short position around there because my stop loss could be fairly tight because it's above the 50 EMA and my risk reward would be down at the first heat map orders, which I think they were at around 90,200. So I'd get about a 6-to-1 risk reward out of that trade. Now, price didn't go that high. As we can see, if I remove all of this, what happened instead was we have this, which is the H pattern. and the H pattern did not break the initial high of the day. So if I were to take that trade instead, then that would look something like, let's just say I took it after this rejection. My stop loss would have to go above the initial high of the day and any wicks that I see to the left, and then the same target. Now I'm only looking at a 3.5 to 1 risk to reward. So see, it's not as a good paying trade than if the price came up a little bit higher. So whilst I can see that it's not going to go any higher because it's already started moving down, that's okay. It didn't come as high as where I personally would be willing to transact. And so therefore, that means that I'm not involved in this and I'm just waiting for the next potential bigger risk to reward trade. And that might be that this whole thing plays out now as level 3. It might come somewhere close to the low of the week. And if maybe not today, but maybe in a few days, if I get some sort of pivot idea there, whether it's a trapping volume formation or a W formation or a V bottom reversal, something like that, then I get to trade the other way. So I'll be looking for a long position instead. I know what's going on because I can count my 3 levels, and then I'll be expecting that we're going to break 100K yet, and I get a much bigger trade. So I'm not somebody who's looking for little trades every day, although I do think when you're learning that is a good idea. If you can dedicate time to trading daily, whether you open a trade or just monitor charts, that's going to help you to get your experience up, and therefore you're going to learn faster. So I'm not saying no one should look for small trades. You need that. You need to build that history. So whilst learning, sure, but once you feel like you're a confident trader, you sit out of a lot of the little trades and you just look for the really bigger, higher risk to reward trades. So that's what I'm personally doing right now anyway, and I'm not worried about this. And whilst this is happening, I'm also monitoring the Bitcoin dominance, and that has been heading down. I'm waiting to see if this actually holds a support here now, because we do have 4 candles here that have held this 58.5% region. So I'm waiting to see if that holds a support, but ideally I'd want to see it bounce off the 200 EMA. But if it holds a support here, then things are going to change. So let me fill you in on that, because that is going to be a hint of what this means for your altcoins. So we've become used to the fact that when Bitcoin price starts to drop, our altcoins bleed even harder. And so we're all in this mindset that if we see the Bitcoin price starting to come down, we're like, oh no, my altcoins are going to get wrecked. But that's not really how it works. We're in a little bit of a different environment right now. And it may mean that your altcoins, they may retrace, but that hard, super, 20% kind of liquidation type candle is not likely in this particular environment. And I'm going to show you why. It comes down to the Bitcoin price, the direction of the Bitcoin price, as well as the direction of the Bitcoin dominance. So if we're looking at this old chart here, this is back in October. So this is when the Bitcoin price started to retrace in October, but the Bitcoin dominance was still rising. Now, when you have that connection there, that's when your altcoins bleed the hardest, okay? So in that period of time, that's when we would see maybe 20, 30% drops in the altcoins, and it was very scary, and ETH BTC was creating continuous lower lows, all that sort of stuff. That happens in this environment. But the environment that we're in right now is a little bit different. And that is this, where we have the Bitcoin price dropping, but the dominance is also dropping. Now, that has a different effect on your altcoins. Your altcoins might retrace, but for the most part, they'll be fairly stable. And so, yes, maybe a potential downtrend, but when I say stable, I don't mean they stay at the same price. I mean that they're just not a dramatic move to the downside like we've been seeing and we've been scared of. So this is a cheat sheet here. You can screenshot if you like, but this really helps you to understand what Bitcoin dominance is doing and the Bitcoin price is doing, and how the combination of those two things will affect what your altcoins do. So you can see here when we have the decreasing dominance and the decreasing, oh, you can't see it because my head's in the way, but that says, wait, let me take this off so you can screenshot it. Now you can screenshot the entire thing and just keep it for your records, because this shows that when we have the decrease in dominance, but also the decrease in Bitcoin price, your altcoins don't do that huge epic pump. They might retrace or they'll stay stable, but it's kind of a nothing burger. Like for me, I'm only trading altcoins on the daily time frame. None of my retracement alerts have gone off yet because of this right here, okay? Whereas in the previous environment that I explained to you, when the Bitcoin price was decreasing, but the dominance was increasing, that's when you see the epic dump. So nothing to worry about with the altcoins right now. However, I will warn you that this has the potential of changing soon, because now if we go back, this is what I meant by I want to see if this holds a support, because if this dominance actually does hold a support, that means it's going to start to move back up, and that's going to change everything I just said to you, because if the dominance continues to move up and the price moves down, then that's when we're going to see the epic altcoin dump. So one other thing to point out about this is that this is the total market cap, and the total market cap has, at this point in time, it's rejected the resistance. So the combination of those two things is telling me like your altcoins might be a little bit stable right now, or not huge dramatic pullbacks, but keep an eye on these two things because it may come, and if it does, that may create good buying opportunities, providing the right market structure is there. What I would be looking for on this in order to stay positive about the altcoin market is a higher low. So I'm okay for this green vector right here to get recovered a little bit anywhere in here. As if we create this higher low, I would expect that, okay, on the next attempt, we'll break through this resistance because we've been there many times before. Okay, so for positivity in your altcoins and for a hint of start buying them, look out for this, as well as the combination with the Bitcoin dominance that I mentioned to you. I also covered this in yesterday's video that never saw the light of day, that with the USDT dominance, we were heading down at the time that I filmed the video, and I said the only thing we really need to be careful of is it holding this support here. So we have like only just created a higher low at this point in time, but this could just come up to the 50 EMA, reject, and head down further. So we do want to see the USDT dominance remain bearish, because that means at least people are still risk on and they're just shifting either from Bitcoin to alt. We don't want to see them shift out of both and into a stable coin. That would be a little bit scary. So keep an eye on this. We don't want to see the market structure change. We want to continue to see lower lows and lower highs on this. Now, before we get into the heat maps, I'm going to tell you about my very special surprise for you guys. I do this only once a year, and that time is right now. The TTC membership Black Friday sale is on now. It is open. The link is in the description of this video. You can get up to 68% discount off our memberships. Now, let me just very quickly explain this to you so that you understand. This membership here is a membership that we only release on Black Friday, and it gives you access to the most essential course information that you need. It's the stuff that I cover on this channel. Yes, there is a lot more trading strategies and there is a lot more deep dive that you can do into this method if you want to, and they are covered in our other two memberships. So the monthly price of our other two memberships are not discounted. We can't do that. We do have a discount for yearly payments, however, off those two. But if you are looking to get in and just learn the first part of this system, which I highly recommend, you never get it cheaper than right now. And that is because we've actually done something different this year. You can see here that it's up to 68% off for your first 3 months. So that means for 3 months on this membership, you can get it for only $25 per month. After that, it does go to the full price. But the reason we decided this year to do it for 3 months is because we know that it's going to take you more than 30 days to learn this system. We know that. To learn and practice and understand this system, it takes time and it takes commitment. And we know that if we can help you at a lower price for 3 months, then we are doing our best to assist you to have the best chance possible